Peace and love, family. Welcome to another powerful, powerful discussion with your sister, Dr. Ma'at. You see, I have our Baba in the building tonight. What's going on, Baba?
Peace and power, Dr. Mike. It's an honor. I'm black. I'm black. Let's
You
get
said
it.
you black, Baba. Let's get it. Baba, I had to reach out to you because I too have been keeping up with the Carmelo Anthony story,
Mhm.
and it is very disheartening to see what's going on, with this young brother. And I saw your post on Facebook. You put up a post, and Baba, you went all the way in. You
Yeah,
was talking about, just how we always our youth are already demonized and we help them. Like we actually help, the dominant society
right.
demonize our youth. And then also shout out to Sister Marcia Pender. She put up a post
Mhm.
talking about the Carmelo Anthony situation. And a lot of us have been talking about the Carmelo
Right,
Anthony
right.
situation online. A lot of videos are floating around. And so I said, you know what? I have to take time out to address this. I had to
Right.
take time out to address this. So I reached out to you, Baba, and you were like, "Yep, Doc, I'm available. Let's do it." And so, Baba, I
Absolutely.
thank you from the bottom of my heart for being on tonight. I know you busy. I know the Uhuru Academy. You said you all are on spring break.
Yep.
You all are on spring break, Baba. So you said it was a great time, a great time to catch you. Family, before we get started, please take a moment out to thumb up the video, thumb it up, thumb it up, thumb it up, thumb it
Oh,
up. Also, family, share this discussion on your social media platforms. I'm actually getting ready to do that on Facebook. I'm getting ready to share it all on Facebook. So share it, family. Throw the link to this discussion in your family group chats or your friends
okay.
group chats. Let them know that Dr. Ma'at and Bob Amin, we're live and we're going to get ready to drop some jewels.
Come
We're
on.
getting ready to drop some jewels. So I'm sharing along with you. So
Same
let's
here.
get some more. Let's get some more behinds in these virtual seats, and let's speak some truth to power tonight.
I say.
Say we are live. We are live right now. Say we are live. Join us. So I'm on social media letting everybody know I'm live. And shout out to the IG family in the building. Peace and love to my IG family. I see you. My IG family, do me a favor. Make sure that you DM this live to your friends, to your family. Let's get some more folks in these virtual seats. Please DM this live. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the Carmelo Anthony story. This young brother right now he's being demonized, on social media. He's being demonized in mainstream media for really protecting himself, and so we're going to talk about that tonight. So DM folks, and also to my IG family, make sure that you hit on over here to YouTube so that I can um show your actual comments on the screen. Okay, I do want to acknowledge some of my audience family. What's going on? Peace and love to you, Sister Sherry Shabazz. I know it said 7 a.m. Bananas, right? That was probably an oversight on me. I'll take the hit on that, but it should have said 7 p.m. My show is every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So my apologies, Sister Sherry Shabazz. I see Queen Rashamel is in the building. The Queen Mother is
Sherry
in
says
the
you about to go
building.
to bed early to catch it in the morning or something.
Right. Peace and love to the Queen Mother. She said peace and much love. We see the Ahuva Academy in the building. Said peace and power, family. The Queen Mother Virgo Venom is in the building. She says peace to the family. I've been waiting for this.
I say.
Ashe to you. Ashe. I see DJ Joker's in the building. Peace and love. Definitely, we need to go to work. I see my brother Dejon Ford is in the building. Peace and love to you, brother Dejon Ford. I see Sister Jessie is in the building. Is that Sister Jessie M. Garrett? It says Grand Rising, Miss Jessie. Peace and love to you, Miss Jessie. I see Ron Green is in the building. Peace and love to you, our great doctor, Craig Samuels in the building. Peace and love to you, Doc. Doc said, "Peace, Dr. Ma'at I mean in chat."
Peace, brother.
We have a hib. Hopefully I didn't butcher it. Is that a hib? I think
Mm.
that's a hib or ohib. Hopefully I didn't
Yeah.
butcher it. But
Or
peace
he,
and love
or
to you.
he,
Oh
Shepsumat.
yeah, peace and
I
love
went
to you.
for it.
You went for it,
I
Baba.
went for a name like that. That brother know how to meditate.
I probably butchered it. And I see my OG families. Golded is in the building. Latanya is in the building. Billion, Sandy. I see God is in the building. God Iveti. Mod is in the building. Said peace and love all the way from South Carolina, man. I love my South Carolina family. You know that's where I'm from, Sumter County, South Carolina. Tim Jones is in the building. Peace and love to you, Tim Jones. We love you too, warrior.
You too, brother.
We love you too. We love you too. Man, all right, so let's jump right into it, Baba.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's jump right into it. So a couple of weeks ago, barely a couple of weeks ago, we got hit with the news down in Texas that an incident occurred at a track meet, a school track meet between Karmelo Anthony and what was the other gentleman name? Austin Metcalf.
Metcalf. Yeah.
Yeah, Austin Metcalf. And so they got into an altercation, and witnesses are saying that Metcalf started it. They said Karmelo was chilling under his tent. And again, guys, this is all alleged. This has to play out in court. We're just going off of what witnesses are saying and what the news reporters are reporting and what the police have said in the incident report. But again, this is all alleged. It has to play out in court. And so allegedly, Karmelo was underneath the tent, where the players were. And he was told by Austin that, man, you're not supposed to be here. Get out of here. And, Austin, not Austin, but Karmelo said, well, no, man, I could be here, whatever. So they exchanged words. And they said that Metcalf had pushed him. Austin pushed Karmelo. And Karmelo was like, nah, don't put your hands on me. Don't touch me. Don't put your hands on me. And, you put your hands on me, I got something for you. Now, these are my words, right? I'm just paraphrasing. But and that Metcalf, him, and I think it was his brother or cousin or somebody, they started banking Karmelo. And he told, he went in his bag, got a knife, and he took it to him. He took it to him. And then they said that the resource police came there. So I believe it was a Hispanic police officer. I'm not really sure of the cultural or racial background of the officer, but the officer came. I do know it was a resource officer, and the officer came over, and they said somebody kind of pointed like it was him. He patted him down. He didn't have a knife on him, but they did recover the knife, put a tent over it to make sure that they could leave it there because it started raining. But they said that Anthony, Karmelo Anthony told him like, yeah, this is not alleged. It was me, and I was defending myself. And they said when he got in the police car, he did ask, did this count as self-defense? Because he said, I just was defending myself.
Right.
And so, Baba, it's a lot to unpack in this whole story. The first thing I want to ask you about is what are your thoughts when you hear people online say things like he shouldn't have had a knife? He was on school grounds and he shouldn't have had a knife. What are your thoughts when you hear that's perspective?
I was very careful when I first read this story, because even though I've been studying our story for over 30 years, Dr. Ma'at, and I consider myself to be African-centered, I do know that I also suffer from a Black inferiority complex that I was raised with, that many of us were raised with. And so the first thing I noticed when I heard about this story were the knee-jerk reactions, right? And the assumption of guilt. And as far as the comments, he shouldn't have had a knife, everybody skipped over the part where young Metcalf had no right to approach him and tell him he can't sit under the tent in the first place. So it's almost like we had the assumption of power that belonged to Metcalf. There's nothing wrong with Metcalf putting his hands on him. There's nothing wrong with Metcalf saying, you can't be over here. Of course, the white boy can tell them that he can't be over there, right? But the first thing we're looking for is, what did the Black child do wrong? If he was such a good kid, why did he have a knife? And we want to know that off top, because the assumption is already that Metcalf is a good kid, because the media immediately came out with Metcalf's football picture and Karmelo's mugshot. So you're already getting you're already being hypnotized. You're already being or told the story via the mainstream media. And so many of us go right into toxic shame, right? And right into that fear. Y'all, this ain't nothing new. When Black men would get attacked, when Emmett Till was killed, right? You don't think it was no Black people saying, well, he had no business whistling at that white girl.
Oh yeah, definitely. Come on, Baba, definitely.
What was he doing with whistling at that white girl? right? So a lot of us go instantly into that mode, and that's what you do when you scared to fight the bully. The bully come up, I come and say, Dr. Mahad, Big Jim hit me in the face. And because you scared of Big Jim, what you do to Big Jim? You ain't looking for justice. You looking for a reason to not get involved in the fight. And so a lot of times we go to, well, what did he do? Well, why did he have the knife? We instantly started prosecuting this black child, right? Rather than even just being neutral and say, man, let's gather the facts. Maybe he's see, I'm from Fort Worth, Texas. Frisco, Texas is in the DFW area. Maybe he knew he was in a racist area. Maybe he kept that little knife on him just in case. We look at black boys as the perpetrators of violence. We look at them as the aggressors all the time, but they're also the number one victims of violence.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so maybe this was just a scared child. Maybe this was just a scared young man who kept a little knife on him, just in case something jumped off. And he warned them from what we're hearing, allegedly. They touched him. He defended himself, and he probably didn't know where he stuck that knife, because he also asked the officer, is he okay?
Yeah,
and
he did.
willingly told the officer, I did it. And he willingly, you know what I'm saying? I was defending myself. Isn't that self-defense? So it also talks to me, tells me about how we need to teach our children racism still exists.
Absolutely.
Because now you also got a black boy who's sitting there saying, hold up, okay, they're going to be fair. I mean, they jumped me. So the officer is going to be my friend in this situation. And that's not what happened at all. Right. And so those are some of my initial thoughts. And I want black people out there, our people, think about that, man. But when these things happen, stop and check yourself first. Why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling anger at this black child without knowing the facts? Why am I so upset? Like he's just put down the whole race. Where does all that stuff come from? And we have to really start dealing with that, because like I said in my post, Dr. Mahad, he not only has to fight for the truth of whatever happens, but he also has to fight the stigma of just being a young black male. And it's obviously a strike against him already playing out in the media.
No, absolutely, Baba.
Too many of us are helping.
No, absolutely. And I agree that a lot of us are helping. And I'm glad that now videos are coming out showing Austin's character, because you know how they try to, like you said, they showed his mugshot, and I guess black folks are tired. Black folks said two can play that game. So now people are, shout out to Dr. Craig Samuels. He sent me the video that's circulating online showing Austin Metcalf. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. It's Metcalf, right? Or Metcalf. But hopefully it was a video that was featuring or depicting Austin getting into it with a black girl. I mean a black guy. So he was with some white chicks, and she called, a black guy the N-word. And, and then Austin kind of, he defended her. Yeah, bro, go ahead. Don't say anything. Yeah, man, I'm dead. ASS. I do this. So, I think black folks are tired, Baba, of being demonized in the media. We saw this play out with Trayvon Martin, right? Yeah. Trayvon Martin was clearly the victim, right? He was clearly the victim. And we saw that how, he was demonized. Remember, they went back, pulled up his Facebook post, showed him smoking weed, and he was this type of kid. And remember, they were, Zimmerman was propped up as, this vigilante. He was just trying to defend the community and protect the community. So we've seen this happen before. Kyle Rittenhurst, we've seen that. He didn't took the damn AR, went down there to the rally and shot folks, and so we see how they this thing, how it plays out in the media. Right. But this is what I want to say, because people will say, well, that this ain't self-defense. I'm gonna say this, Baba. By American standards, this is self-defense. If Kyle Rittenhurst can say that he was defending himself, even though we clearly see that he was the aggressor. He didn't went and got the damn AR and went to the rally.
Cross state lines.
Right, cross state lines to shoot someone. And he called that self-defense. George Zimmerman was also the aggressor. Yes, he was following Trayvon Martin. Even though the dispatcher said, don't follow him, leave it alone. He followed the boy.
Mhm.
He was the aggressor. And his defense was self-defense. He claimed self-defense. So I feel like, damn it, if they could claim self-defense and clearly they were the aggressors, then surely, I sound like my mother now. Surely can Karmelo Anthony claim self-defense? They say he actually, witnesses allegedly said that he was getting biked. They biked him.
Yeah.
And he went in his bag and grabbed his knife and
Broke
he
his
defended
phone.
himself.
Mhm.
And let me say this, and for the folks online who are saying things like he shouldn't have had a knife, newsflash, do you know how many teenagers are walking around with knives and
Mace.
mace? They have these claws now that you can put around your knuckles if you
Tasers.
get into a fight. Tasers. So you all say he shouldn't have had it. He shouldn't have had it on school grounds. A lot of kids have things like sprays and pepper sprays and all kinds of stuff. They're carrying this stuff because they already know when they go into these spaces, it's not, yeah, you might have one officer. Come on now, Baba. You might have one officer, two officers on school ground. But we already know how it goes, Baba, in high school. I remember we went to Woodlawn. They were throwing people out the cafeteria window, stomping folks out. People's getting shot at the basketball court. You're not safe. You don't feel safe. So people carry stuff. And let me be candid with you. I actually went to Poly. So my freshman year of high school, I got accepted in the Polytechnic Institute, really, really good school in Baltimore. But I got into a fight. And that fight spilled over to high school. I had a knife on me. They searched my locker. And Bobby, they kicked my tail out of that school. And I ended up going to Woodlawn and graduating for Woodlawn. But I had a knife on me, right? And so we had so carrying, I'm just saying all this to say, and I'm not saying that it's right, but I am saying that a lot of teenagers do carry things to protect them. So it's not, this shouldn't be a shocker that, oh my gosh, he had a knife. And before I land my plane, let me say one more thing, Baba. We need to teach our children that if they get involved in something, don't say anything. I wish, and I don't know what type of conversations his parents have had with him, but I wish someone would have told him, if you get into trouble and an officer confronts you, the only thing you need to say is, I need to call my mom or I need to call my dad. Don't answer any questions. And we need to have these types of conversations with our children. Don't think officer friendly is writing down everything your child is saying. So if your child gets into trouble, God forbid, and they, a police officer arrives and, I want to talk to you, we need to tell our children, don't say anything. The only thing you need to say is, I need to call my mom. I need to call my dad. I need to call my mom. Well, what happened here, son? Or what happened here, miss? I just need to call my dad. I need to call my dad. I need to call my mom. That's the only thing that he should have said. He talked a little bit too much, Bob. And I think he's a kid. He got scared. He just stabbed somebody. Mind is all over the place. He didn't know what was going on. It even looked like in his mugshot that he cried. You could tell that he was crying. He looked scared, Bob. He looked scared. Yeah. But when I was listening to the whole, news story, I said, God damn it, I wish somebody would have told him, you don't say anything. Just shut up. I said, shut up. Don't say nothing else. Don't say nothing else, Karmelo. Right. So what's your thoughts, Baba?
Well, again, it comes back to education, and then that illusion of inclusion that too many of our families are passing down to our children by not teaching them our story, by not letting them know how the world works, and knowing their rights, and that they're going to need to know their rights in any given situation. His response was one of an empowered child who said, well, I just defended myself. Yeah, I did. I mean, they jumped me. So he felt he had the same empowerment that Metcalf would have had the situation been reversed, right? And that wasn't the case. When you talk about Rittenhouse, when you talk about Derek Chauvin, when you talk about Daniel Penny, who raised $2.9 million, the Marine that choked out the brother on the subway, right, and killed him.
What was his name? You said Daniel Petty. You said
Daniel Penny, I believe.
Penny. Okay.
Right. Daniel Penny was his name, right? When their stories come out, not only is it self-defense, it's like maybe he handled it wrong, but Zimmerman was protecting his community. Rittenhouse was protecting his country. Daniel Penny was protecting the subway, and no one's worried about the excessive violence that they use to do so. But that's a power relationship that white males have in this country that black men don't get to enjoy. When our grandfathers and great grandfathers fought in World War I, World War II, in Korea, they wasn't defending their country. They were fighting to prove that they were human beings too. You see how that diminishes what they're doing, but every
Absolutely.
white GI that comes home, you defended the nation. We thank you for your service. But the black men had to come home and fight again when they got home,
Absolutely.
right? And,
Absolutely.
and so in this case, you have a young black child, right, defending himself allegedly, right? That it will not get the same benefit of the doubt that a white child would get, or that grown white men have gotten in more obvious situations. And we have to ask ourselves, why is that? And how do we combat that and stop being so naive in thinking that this thing can't happen to you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Bob, I'm glad that you said that because a lot of folks have that mentality. I'm talking to black folks, and people, I ain't keeping up with that. And kind of like, like you said, it can't happen to me. I'm over here, I'm living. And every time I hear black folks, I ain't really keeping up with that story. I mean, that's them. I'm over here living my life. That's going on over Texas. That's going on down there. I often think about Mammy Till. And Mammy Till said when she was in Chicago living her best life, and we hear about what was going on with the Negroes in the South, she said that she just used to look at it as, oh, that's the Negro problem down there in the South. She said until it showed up at her doorstep. So a lot of us, Baba, we act like this stuff can't happen to us until our son. Look at Jay 15. Baba Jay, when I saw this incident, I thought about Jalen. I have other youth in my family who are in their late teens and early 20s, and I thought about them. And so if this could happen to Karmelo, then surely this could happen to us. So we better care. So salute to all the brothers and sisters who donated to the family. I think his funding campaign is up to like 300, over 300,000. I think about 350,000 right now. And you had folks that were upset about that.
Trying to get it taken down.
Trying to get it taken down. Well, wait a minute. Did you try to get George Zimmerman's GoFundMe taken down? Did you try to, when George Zimmerman, I think he sold the gun that he shot Trayvon Martin with, sold it for like $1 billion, right? Auctioned it off. Did anybody try to stop the sale of that?
Right.
Even Kyle Rittenhouse, Rittenhouse, I'm sorry, Kyle
500,000 on GoFundMe alone.
500,000. Did you all try to take that down? No. So Baba, it really, to me, when incidents like this happen, I think back to the lie that people were sold when Barack Obama became president in 2008. When Barack Obama came to president in 2008, people say the dream, Dr. King's dream has been realized. We have an African-American president. So now America has entered into this post-racial era, right? Which was Baba, far from the truth. And I'm going to play Barack Obama's words in a second. But Barack Obama even said, nah, he said one election is not going to overturn, hundreds and hundreds of years of racism. It's just not going to do that. So he said even when he heard it, it was off-putting for him because he was just like, wait a minute, one presidential election is not going to overturn this. We have some serious work to do. Baba, what are your thoughts? Do you think that America that we are in the post-racial era where we have incidents like this still happening?
Oh, absolutely not. And it's really on us. The onus is on us. You're only a victim of the power of other people when you need them for something. Right. You can avoid. There were people in the South who didn't experience a whole lot of racism. Those are the ones that were landowners who lived on their own land. They didn't see them folk enough. When you build your own hotels, when you have your own stores, when you use your culture as your immune system and your protection in your community, when you own the stores, right? That's how you fight it. So we're more vulnerable now than we've been in a long time because the integration agenda told us, don't own something in the Black community, get a job and move out of the Black community and go and try to blend in to the larger society. What does that do though? Puts it in a position where we have to try to change the larger society. So good luck with that, right? Good luck with that. And then you're destroying your power, which is your base. You don't have a community to come back to when you do get in trouble. When the larger society goes on the attack, you don't have a strong voter base to come back to. You don't have a strong economic base to come back to. You don't have strong employers to come back to. So we're in a position now, we don't even have a black community, a strong black community to undergird us so we could fight, avoid, or at least limit the impact of racism in America. You can't be post-racial if you look at him and saying, I know you don't like me, but hire me because I can't hire myself. I know you don't want me next to you, but accept me and let me be next to you because I can't build anything for myself. I don't want to own a store, but Mr. Man from the Middle East, will you please respect us when we come in your store that's in our community? But you don't think these people are looking at you saying, you can't even own a store. That's the only reason why I get to be over here. You don't have the ability. Why am I doing your nails? You don't think the Asian lady's asking, why am I doing your nails? Why are we selling all the hair to you? You can't do this for yourself. So we ask for respect just based on being human beings. But sometimes, y'all, people respect you based off what you do.
Oh, that's a fact. That's a fact.
And so we have to look at ourselves and say, that's why I said in my post, our children have an image problem. We're not launching marketing campaigns talking about how brilliant our children are. You have to do that. Look at when Kyle Rittenhouse, they put that white boy in a suit so fast and had him on Fox looking like he about to run for office. Because they're looking, they understand how you propagandize your children really determines where power is going to be in the future. We're not propagandizing our children. There are black children all over this country right now winning millions of dollars in scholarships. There are black children all across the country now developing games, building robots. You know this because we work with some of them.
Absolutely.
But we're not throwing pep rallies for them. We're not putting them on TV. We're not making sure that we're investing in showing an image of black youth that reflects who we really are as a people. I love our gangster rappers and things. I ain't hating on Glow and Meg and all them, but 99% of black women ain't that.
That's right.
That's not representative of who we are in our community. But if we give them all the attention and we give them BET awards and stand up and clap for it while they clapping something else, we clapping our hands. What are we telling our daughters? What messages are we putting out there to the world outside our community?
That's right.
Yeah. So, but that's on us. We have to promote who we really are because that's not who we really are. That's who these companies want to promote us as, not who we are for real. We working class people that go to work every day and try to do the best we can with what we have. That's who we are. And that image isn't seen enough.
I agree 1,000% with you, Bob. I should have dropped the daggone bomb, the daggone fire bomb, Baba. Because I'm telling you, I mean, you're 1,000% correct. I want to play this 30-second clip of Barack Obama talking about the idea of him, America being a post-racial society once he became the president of the United States. Here we go.
A positive. I think it pointed to where we need to go. I think any talk of it being a post-racial America after my election was never realistic. I think it was.
But that was a lot of that talk, though.
Well, I think, in fact, that talk was not only naive, but I think created some problems down the road because two things happened. Number one, it meant that African Americans and other minority groups might have felt as if the problems that had built up over centuries, a wealth gap, an education gap, significant poverty, that those things could be addressed overnight. On the other hand, among, I think, some white voters who sincerely were glad to see that the country had made this breakthrough, there was also maybe an unrealistic notion that somehow, okay, that means discrimination's over.
But is there a third group that just didn't want a black president?
Well, undoubtedly. There's no doubt about that. But in the same way that you wouldn't expect in a 4-year span or an 8-year span to undo the entire legacy of race in America, social attitudes also don't transform in 4 years or 8 years. It happens over generations. And so, sure, there is residual racial prejudice in this society.
And I know you don't believe that we're more divided racially today.
No,
and historically, you're right. There are some.
Yeah, I just wanted to play that snippet right there. And so you heard Barack Obama even say it's naive. He was like, yeah, I heard that talk about it being a post-racial era, but he was like, that's kind of naive. He said, social attitudes don't transform overnight. He said, and then you can't undo, hundreds of years of race, racial issues or racial tension in America just in one election. So that's Barack Obama even saying that whole idea we live in a post-racial society, it was crazy. It was crazy. But I do want to bring up Brother Ankh. He joined us. He and I were actually talking about doing this show, and he's running a little late, but he's been in the back for a minute. Peace and love to you, Brother Ankh. What's up with you, Brother Ankh?
Oh, hey, how y'all two doing? How you feeling?
Hey, feeling good. Brother. What's going on with you, Brother Ankh?
Oh man, just holding on, doing what we got to do, man. Keeping the fight right, and just making sure I'm correct, in my speech and what I'm doing, man. I never want to follow the crowd, no matter what. You're in Baltimore, Maryland. You get killed following the crowd sometimes, man. And and I never want to really be divisive, but the way I survived where I was from was always based off of thinking and never allowing other people to think for me, right? And that's just who I am. I get a lot of stress for that, but it is what it is, man. I hear y'all conversation. So I got a teenager in school, and I'd rather have my son locked up than somebody might beat him half to death. Okay? So that is what it is, but it's consequences to that. If I give my son permission to take a weapon to school, then there may be consequences with that. And as a man, I'm gonna have to take that. I'm gonna have to look them police in their face and say, look, them two dudes was banking him and he stabbed him. Yeah, I mean, so y'all say allegedly, because I would never just say that, right? But knowing in my heart, and when I'm sitting in that courtroom, I'm gonna get him a lawyer. I'm gonna do what I can do, but I'm gonna know in the back of my mind that I shouldn't allow him to take that knife to school, right? So it's the choices we got in this world, and I think African Americans need to stand up to them damn choices. So if you don't have a problem with your kids taking weapons to school, right, then don't cry about it. Something happened. You rather get caught with it than without it. That's my point. I just want to say that. So, but I'm not going to cry and act like he's supposed to have weapons on school property or at school events, because that's endangering the lives of other children, white, black, green, or purple. And I ain't picking no sides. I'm looking at the babies at this point. That's the problem. No conflict resolution. Because I come up in the era, we put these up. White boy come up talking crazy, I'm going to bang him in his mouth. I ain't going to reach and get a knife and stab. I'm going to bang him in his mouth. Right? One or two of y'all. Somebody, I ain't at no event by myself anyway, so I'm gonna protect myself. So just to get the knife and stab him and potentially spend the rest of my life in prison, man, it's choices, man. So that's how he felt. He felt like they're gonna bank him, and he stabbed him. He felt like he want to be in a tent because my daughters ran track. And at those track meets, they have different tent for different schools. They go to two separate schools. So if my daughter going and up, no matter how hard it's raining, because it's been raining at some of these events, right? My two sons play flag football. They all got tents. When you get in an opposing team and opposing team's tent, there's going to be conflict. We can't sit here and act like it ain't, right? Ravens, Steelers, man, the fan get on the wrong tent. It's gonna be some problems. We gotta teach our children to think they things all the way through, because we never want them in a situation where they may have to potentially take the lives of somebody else. That's what I'm saying. I ain't picking no sides on this. I'm Black Power all day, every day. But I just want y'all to think about the whole situation. At the end of the day, I'm glad that brother is still here, right? I'm sorry he opened his mouth. and said the things he said to them damn police because he don't owe them nothing.
Yeah,
We gotta teach our kids better than that.
Yeah, that's what I said
I
earlier.
just want to make that point. We gotta teach our kids. Shut the hell up, bro.
Right.
What are you talking about? You didn't do nothing. Shut up. Sit down, and let me come get you out of jail.
Right.
That's his mistake right there. I'm glad he's living. I'm glad he got his life, but he got to shut the hell up, yo. Simple as that. When the white man got you, yo, shut up, because he give you rules and regulations to that. You don't got to say nothing.
Right.
Underage, wait till your parents get there. Let me handle it. So that's where I'm at with the whole situation.
Again, like, I don't know exactly what happened under the tent. None of us do. What I will say though, I've raised 8 children, including 4 sons, 4 daughters. When my children were teenagers, I taught them how to avoid conflict, but they also had some basic type of self-defense weapons on them. You know, my daughters did have mace, you know, and it's a tradition, and we some knife carriers in my family. You know, we don't rob people though. But we are some knife fans. I got my first knife when I was a teenager. I passed one to my son when he was 1. Thank God he never had to use one. It was just purely for self-defense purposes, last ditch effort if needed. You know what I'm saying? And so like you say, I'd rather he be caught with one than without one, you know. And you'd hate that they be in a situation where they have to use it. But if they have to defend themselves, my thought as a father is, if I don't want you charged for murder for defending yourself. If you got to get in trouble for that weapon, then that's a whole nother story. So there are going to be some consequences, but we can't fault the community for fighting to make sure that the consequences are fair. Now, we know historically that's not the United States MO, especially in Texas for young black males. I'm from Texas, right? But at the same time, we want to integrate. We want to be in there. We want to tell our children, you got the rights that everybody else have. Well, when they start acting like it, we can't back up and say, you should have known since you was black, you can't do what they do. We can't backtrack. When he went out there and acted like a first-class citizen, let's just say for conversation's sake, it was actually self-defense, and that he was a scared little kid who pulled out the knife, thought that he was about to get beat half to death, pulled out the knife and didn't know where he stuck the knife. Because the average person in the heat of the moment is just jugging.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I agree.
And he just so happened to jug in a fatal area and took that life.
Yeah, I don't think he tried.
I don't think it was intentional.
Not at all. No.
I don't think he stood over him and this.
That wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't like that.
This seems like a get off of me.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I'm in total agreement with you. But they're gonna say, being ignorant of the law, yo, that's that. So what? And that's my point. We're in a space where, man, we're not catching them breaks like everybody, man.
Right.
Not unless you pay for it. Not unless you pay for it. Like, you gotta have some serious lawyers, right? I'm saying I come up in a neighborhood where it's crazy as it may sound. You can actually look at the brothers I grew up with, the ones that got lawyers. Yeah, I'm saying they got off with damn near everything. The ones that didn't stay locked up. Now, should it be that way? It should not be that way.
Right.
They only, like we already know to get a Jewish lawyer, a good Jewish lawyer. Dr. Matt, you know my lawyer?
Yeah.
They end up locking my lawyer up.
And speaking of that, this is what's gonna piss them off more, because he comes from a middle-class black family.
Yeah, he wasn't no crazy man.
And they have the means to get a lawyer.
Yeah, he could be all right. I just wish he wouldn't have said nothing.
But that's going to make the backlash. I know Texas. Yeah. When you're a Negro with something and can fight back, they get madder at that. And so his family's going to have to be on the lookout, because they're not safe right now.
Yeah, you got to step up.
Use the bond and get him out. He's not safe right now. I'm from the state where they used to drag you out the jailhouse. It wasn't no trial.
Yeah, no, you're right. I've been down there. Y'all got. I've been when you had your school down there.
Yes, sir. And you ain't see no Fort Worth PD nowhere around.
No, you got to have your own You know what I'm saying? Like, so you know, like for me, I just hate to see us in these types of situations, man. Like we need to have self-defense classes because he could have just beat them white boys up. Like I ain't never got beat up by a white boy. I don't understand that. Like my hands beat you good for them. They trying to wrestle. I'm gonna take a half step back, right, and hit them with the uppercut, blow my fist up, because you know they running at you full speed. So I'm gonna blow my fist up and sidestep them and knock them out. That's always been my. If I ain't got to stab you, you ain't good enough for me to stab. I ain't you. Nah, you ain't that athletic like that to get me like that. That's how we was raised.
Right.
It probably was crazy, but that's how I came through the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't gotta stab you. But he probably, but I'm saying Karmelo might have been a little small. I don't know the size of him. Football players are large.
Linebacker. Metcalf and his brother, two white guys.
Big boy. Yeah, big boy.
And Melo's a track athlete. So you know, he was outside.
Different side. Yeah, that's not. Yeah. So I'm thinking
if Texas was a stand your ground state. It is. It's one of the most liberal weapon carrying states. You carry a gun in Texas, except on certain places, right? But really, it's a stand your white ground state. It's really not a stand your black ground state.
So he just gotta. I mean, at the end of the day, man,
rich ground state.
the best they gonna be able to do for him, man, is that he don't get charged with first-degree murder, man. That's what I'm hoping for. Yeah. You know, the fact that he had that at a school event, a track event. That's what's gonna cost them right there, because you're not supposed, like they check us when we go in these basketball games, these track events, man. They checking you, and they got a big sign there, bro. Like, you have a weapon if you bring a weapon up in here if you want to. So now we got to deal with the fact that he's never gonna get past that. Now it's the intent, right? And I'm arguing that based off of the stated facts, based off what the young brother said, based off what all the witnesses said, man, that he wasn't trying to murder nobody, man. He was trying to protect himself. Man.
But wait a minute, Unc. I got to interject. You saying that he's not going to get around the fact that he had. Well, I mean, Kyle Rittenhurst got around the fact that he actually ran and got the AR and pursued people that weren't pursuing him, right? I mean, he got around that fact. Is that correct, Unc?
Was it on school property?
It don't matter. It's not about. Listen to what I'm saying. You know, you're not listening to what I'm saying. You're saying it's no way. I'm not
around the school property issue, not around.
No. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. Right. It's always raised around it. That's what I'm saying. So you're saying he can't get around the fact that he was on school property, wasn't supposed to have it. But it's incidents that have happened, right? Where the obvious, we're like, man, how Kyle Rittenhouse going to get? How would Kyle Rittenhouse get away with going to get the damn AR, crossing state lines, and still getting found not guilty with a defense? With a defense that he was defending himself. How did Zimmerman get around the fact that he pursued Trayvon? Trayvon wasn't pursuing him. He was actually the aggressor. And there was loops. You get what I'm saying? They got around that. So I just think that when you have the right complexion for protection, they find ways to get around things. That's my point. I'm not saying that these other two incidents, they were on school property. The point that I'm trying to drive home is that when you had the protection, when you had the complexion for protection, there's always some workarounds when the situations like that. It seems like with us, brother Ankh, we gotta follow the rules. We gotta stick to the rule. I'm just saying, Ankh, I'm saying with us, he shouldn't have had it on school property. He ain't getting around that. But it's been other instances where people have gotten around things, brother Ankh, because they had the complexion for protection. That is my point.
And to that, in Texas, it's all about location restricted knives. It's about the length of the blade, right? Anything over, and I'm reading the law right now, 5.5 inches. Anything under 5.5 inches, you're good. Anything over 5.5 inch blade, is bad. And if you're under 18, that's going to juvie. So even if he does because he should, if it's rule self-defense and he has to deal with the knife, that's a juvenile charge. Even for adults, it's just a fine up to $10,000 in imprisonment 2 to 10 years. That's a far cry from murder or manslaughter, right? If it's self-defense, there should be no manslaughter conviction. There should be no murder conviction. If it's just down to possessing the weapon on school grounds, that's going to juvenile, and he has no priors. That would carrying a knife would be probation.
Well, there you go. There you have it. You need to get some good lawyers, lawyer up, and then we gotta. So like I hear what you're saying, Doc, but I want to let you know that people have been mass shot on school properties, right? And so it's a heightened thing, right? With weapons, you know what I mean, at school events and school property because of the mass shootings that have occurred. And so, you know, that's in the forefront of everybody's head is weapons in schools and how to protect our kids from coming to schools. As a matter of fact, they lock the doors now. You got to ring the bell, all kind of stuff to get into these types of things and events to get checked. So it's a lot to go with that, Doc. So yeah, it's always a workaround. That's why it's the law. It's always a workaround.
Right.
But I'm not going to sit here and think that we're gonna always get the workaround. Like I'm not sitting
That's
here
what I'm
thinking
saying.
it's
No,
fair.
hell no.
So
No,
I'm
no,
not.
with you.
I
I'm with
don't.
you on that.
So that's
We
why.
don't get it.
Yeah.
That's
we
the
gotta
point.
think.
That's the point that I was making.
Yeah,
that we
yeah,
don't
but
get
that's
it.
crazy. Like we come from slavery. Like if you sitting here thinking that the shit gonna go your way, then you're not thinking,
Yeah.
right? So even when I broke law, I was already thinking. You got to know that. Hold on, just me walking down the street is a crime in Baltimore, Maryland, right? They could just pull me over for no reason. So I never was dirty. Because I know the double rule. White boy can have a key on him. The police walk right by him and snatch us up. So I already know that. So I'm double thinking it. Right? I'm not asking. I don't need you to give me a break. If I'm breaking law, I'm breaking law. Breaking law is breaking law. I don't need no breaks. You ain't supposed to expect no break. Right? So my point, what I'm saying is, we don't gotta look for the breaks. I'm saying as serious as the people as we are, right? I sit here and I look at you two individuals. I look at y'all two, bro. And I don't mean no harm. I've never heard y'all give a damn excuse for raising kids and teaching them. I seen y'all in action. So I be hearing y'all sometime, right? I be like, okay, we supposed to help the people that don't got the that we got. I agree. Everybody don't got what y'all got. Everybody don't got what I got. And I don't expect African Americans to have what we have because we have no excuses. We have a no excuse program. Simple as that. That's what we do. We're going to do the scientific literacy, right? We're going to have our schools. You're not running around like Umar Johnson acting like you doing something, bro. Right? For how many years, have we heard this man act like he doing that with all the excuses, bro? You've never given an excuse. You never begged nobody. You just did it. Mm-hmm. Same with you, doctor. Oh, yeah, man, yeah. On your own, right? Point blank. Like, that's what you're doing. You're not trying to hit what you can't do. I'm saying is I am never afforded an excuse. I can never say I can't do this because of this, because I sold dope and it didn't matter. I was not afraid of white people when I sold dope. I wasn't afraid of the law. I wasn't afraid of the United States government because the United States government locked me up and I still did it. So that means I'm not afraid. That means I can take the same right and do something positive to help my community, regardless of what they say I can do. Mm-hmm. I can step up, but that does not mean that everybody got that same vigor that I got. I'm not saying that. Those that don't got the vigor, people like us are supposed to help. We're supposed to reach down and help those so they can see through. I see the fog. I see through the fog. I understand how to start a business, right? I understand how to hook up with a Dr. Mayat, you know what I'm saying, and have her back and make sure she's straight. You know what I'm saying? I know how to be around good company. Like you, Baba Amin, right? Who educating the babies. I don't make no excuses. I get in the goddamn room with y'all, right? I make y'all keep me in that daggone room. Regardless of how rough around the edges I be, man, we got a mission here, man, to make sure these kids are literate and understand their history accurately and making sure we don't end up in situations that we can't handle. That's our job, and that's what we do. We make no mistakes. We make no excuses about it, yo. And I feel like that's revolutionary for me. A revolutionary don't got no damn excuses. Because guess what? If I die doing it, I don't know. I ain't make no excuse. I'm dead. I don't even know about it. I'm going to end it right there.
Let me ask you this, this is a good segue into this. Two Americas. So when I sat and watched this whole thing play out online and listening to folks, their thoughts, their ideas and thoughts about what transpired between Austin and Karmelo, I thought about Two Americas, not two Americas. I'm sorry. It was called The Other America. That was a speech that Dr. King gave at Stanford University in 1967. And basically in the speech, he was saying that, you know, he called it the other America, but he's saying there are two Americas, right? There's an America that is experienced by people who are labeled as white. And then there's this other America that is experienced by people classified as non-white. Okay. And so I asked the two of you brothers right now, before I give my opinion, I do want to hear what you all had to say. What are your thoughts about that in 2025? Do you think that an other America exists, that the other America that Dr. King described back in 1967, where he said in this other America, people face, you know, racism and poverty and inequality. And so do you think that this other America that he described in 1967 still exists when you have situations like Carmelo Anthony and Austin?
Oh,
Good, Bob.
you going for me? Okay. I believe there's always been multiple America. This is a capitalist society. So it's not going to be, America's not going to be the same for the rich as it is for the poor. Definitely America is not the same for African Americans as it is for white Americans. You know, one of the most powerful tools that the rich the rich use is to weaponize racism with the white poor, so they can weaponize them against the black poor, so the poor won't come together and make change and build rainbow coalitions like Fred Hampton was trying to build in in Chicago. In 2025, economically, there's definitely more than one America. We all are not definitely experiencing the same country. The rules, sometimes the rules can be the same and still be unfair. For example, there are rules in schools where if you fight, you get a $500 fine. Well, a $500 fine is not the same punishment for a rich family as it is for a poor family. That's not the same America. So $500 is a bill in my house. $500 is change, is dresser money in your house. You see what I'm saying? Definitely, America is just as separated and even more segregated today than it was during the period that we call segregation, because integration was actually pseudo-integration. Malcolm X said that segregation was when institutions from outside of your community control the institutions inside of your community. We were taught that it's just about who can use what water fountain.
Exactly.
We're more segregated today, or just as economically and politically segregated today as we were then, right? And so, yes, there's still there's two Americas. There probably will always be. My focus is, what kind of America do we want to have? And are we spending too much energy trying to be a part of somebody else's American experience and not maximizing our own?
Brother Ankh?
Yeah, like I never have time to even think about that. Cause then it put fear in my heart. You know, like when you step on the gridiron and play football, you know the team standing over there then won 10 straight games. And you know you got the talent on your side. And you know you're on their home court, the refs on their side and all that. But I ain't sitting there thinking that they're going to beat us today. I'm going into that game because I know I'm prepared. I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I know I'm serious at what I do, right? I know I'm a champion. I know I come from a long line of champions. When I step on that damn field, I feel like you put your damn cleats on saying what I do, even though you cheated. I understand that. So I'm never sitting around worrying about 2, 3, 4 Americas. I'm thinking they need to worry about me and what I'm going to do to you on that gridiron. So for me, I never worry about it being 2, 3 Americas. I always want to put myself in a situation because money talking, bullshit walk.
But the question wasn't whether you're worried about it. The question is, does it exist?
I never know that. I'm saying I never know it. I never know that. I hear y'all say it.
It's not whether or not you're worried about it or you're harping on it or you're fixated with it. It's just, does this exist?
And I said, I have no validation to prove that 2 Americas exist. I know we built America, right? I know America is just as much ours as anybody's, and I'm not giving them that real estate. I'm saying we helped build this thing, man. For them, all our labor, all our ingenuity, we wasn't just laborers at building this damn things. We had technicians, we had engineers, right? Farming, agriculture. We brought that to this damn country. I'm not giving them none of it. We fought in all the wars. I'm an ex-Marine.
True.
What we talking about? We died for this country. Fought in the Korean War, the Bad Pigs, World War I, World War II. Hell, Hitler looked us in the face when we flew them damn planes. Like, come on, man. Like, we changed the war in World War II. What we talking about here? I'm not giving them nothing. Right? They can talk that talk all they want, yo. This is just as much our America as theirs. So I don't want to hear about two Americas, and I'm a damn sure fight. If it is two Americas, I'm gonna make sure it's one that look out for us. That's where I'm at with it. So, Doc, maybe you see that.
Well, our ancestors definitely had to fight for more than one America, because they
Yeah,
had
they
to
fought.
fight. They did. They fought for the country of the United States. Then they had to get back and fight for our country. Remember the 17th Infantry in Houston, Texas, in the early 1900s that had to go to war with the Houston Police Department, and how over 100 of them were not only court-martialed but executed for defending black people against the police department in Houston. So they fought for two Americas. They had to fight for the United States of America. Then they had to come home and fight for Black America. And those lines, whether we want to acknowledge them or not, these folks have a way of reminding you that they exist.
That they exist, absolutely.
Y'all got my back then.
You better listen.
Y'all got my back. Like, I can't look behind me like that. I can't walk through that way. I can't walk that way.
I don't think it's necessarily. I don't think it's necessarily looking behind you. I think it's.
I'm saying for me.
No. I understand what you're saying,
Yeah,
but what I'm saying is, I don't think it's necessarily looking behind you. I think it's looking at what's in front of you and being honest about what you see. So, for example, you and I were on the telephone the other day, and I forgot how you and I started going at it, but we started talking about racism in America and the Black struggle, and you were like, that's an inferiority complex. And I'm like, brother, no, it's not. Like, us being real about what we see, about this cultural reality that we are experiencing, is what we see. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's necessarily making up excuses or operating with, an inferiority complex or self-defeat. But this is what it is. You're saying I'm looking behind me. No, I'm thinking I'm looking dead out in front of me, and I'm seeing America for who she is or what it is. Even Barack Obama recently came out, and I could play his statements. I have the clip queued up. Barack Obama said he's at a point now where he's questioning the ethos or the ethos of America, the character of America. He said he's there. He said, given everything that transpired, he said, look, he said, when I was in office, he said, the stuff that this administration is doing, he said, I couldn't have dared gotten away with that in 2008. So he said, I'm over here even questioning the character of America, right? The spirit or the essence. What is America? And so you had people like that saying that, so that's not looking back or to not. No, it's looking at things for what they are and dealing with them accordingly.
Yeah, you kind of took my words out of context. What I was talking about when we use European terminology to actually frame our ancient civilizations, I feel like that's an inferiority complex that you can't just make a determination on your own. And I always feel like let the ancestors speak. You should not go into an indigenous population and put your mindset on them, and particularly a colonial mindset. And I felt like that was actually inferiority complex.
But we weren't talking about that. We were talking about racism in America.
Yeah, so I talked about the residue of racism, and when you think it's gone, Trump kicked up the residue. It's there.
He sure did.
United States of America tell you that racism is systemic. So I've never spoke against that. I simply say you need a certain amount of the population just fucking crash out. I'm a crash out, Doc. I ain't think about none of that. I don't got no fear in my heart. And I'm not saying because other people think about me in fear. I say for me to survive in this world, right? I can't worry about 2-3 Americas. I got to focus on what I'm doing for my family. I got to focus on nurturing my friendships. I got to make sure things is right. Like, that's what y'all do. Y'all Pan-African, right? I don't look at myself as being that, right? And I'm saying we need this variation right here so they can't kill us all. There has to be variation in thought. If we all think the same way, they're going to get us.
I say.
That's what I'm saying. I do not downgrade or take away from what you see. You see the world through your eyes and your struggle. I see the world through my eyes and my struggle. And I say we're more powerful together, right? So I know y'all not a liar,
Right.
right? I'm saying I'm a warrior class. I know my weapon. I know the weapon I got. You know what I'm saying? I know what I got. I seen it. I see the vision. I see where we going. I can't stop right here and worry about that. That's what I'm saying. Because that's who I am. That's what make me me. If I lose myself, then I lose, man. I can't always two Americas. Then it's gonna make me iffy. Well, maybe I shouldn't invest in this, or maybe I shouldn't take this chance because they're gonna take my money. Do you know people? And y'all know what I'm talking about, man. You got people that actually walk around here, yo, afraid to invest their money in their own business because they think somebody gonna take it from them. The white man gonna take it from them. You know what I'm saying? Doc, you told me about how we was afraid to put our money in banks and stuff like that. Man, you cannot worry about that. That cannot stop you from doing what you're doing, man. And I think that's the real thing. It's a lot of times, right? The thing that really it's the unknowing that have people afraid. Not really knowing is what people really make you shaky. Well, every time I want to get up, they're gonna knock me down. I'm saying it's a lot of us, Doc. Not talking about y'all two, but there's a lot of us, man, that are actually afraid that if we do get ahead in something, the white man gonna take it from us. I'm saying I can't think that.
Oh, a lot of us don't even start because of that belief.
That's all I'm saying.
At the Uhuru Academy, we teach our students that they're global citizens. There's nowhere in the world, you know what I'm saying, that you can't go and you can't conquer what it is, right? Don't worry about being at the table, build a table. Like that's the attitude. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, look what happens in the Karmelo Anthony case, because even early in this conversation, the sentiment was kind of like, when black folks can't get a good lawyer, they get locked up. Or man, he gonna have to pay for this. He gonna have to pay for that. But using the logic you just used, he should be in there like, I ain't worried about nothing. I ain't worried about this because I'm gonna get a good lawyer. I know it was self-defense, and I'm gonna fight this with that same kind of vigor.
Yeah, that's how I would do it. Especially if I'm carrying a knife for me, I'm gonna carry it like that. I got
and I want people to caution that learning that it exists, right? The purpose is to defeat it, not to be defeated by it.
Exactly. Right? That's my point.
But when you don't know it's there and you only encounter it when it encounters you, then you'll catch yourself not being prepared.
That's right.
Absolutely. We're at war. We're at battle.
We're at war. And in war, no matter how scary the enemy looks, you must examine it in all of its facets. And don't examine it from an inferiority complex. Just examine it as a scientist. This is what it is. Find out why. You don't just say things like, they gonna stop us. Well, who is they? And how do they stop us? And how can we stop them from stopping us? Instead of making them omnipotent, as soon as we get it, they gonna take it away. Who is? I remember when I started the Uhuru Academy. Plenty of people told they not gonna let you start a school. I said, 15 years later, I ain't met they yet.
Come on, man. See,
who is they?
Now I know you know. Now I know you know. Who the hell is that?
What you're saying.
And Chef trolling though. And Chef trolling. He trolling, Doc.
Yeah. And
the
cool thing is this though.
Trolling. Chef trolling.
The cool thing is this though. I study they, and I really know who they is, and we've charted a path to where I haven't really had to encounter they, and it's been intentional. Because there's a lot we can do without coming face to face with they. But when I do come to face with they, we're prepared.
That's right. That's right.
Well,
and I think that you should always analyze, what's around you. Always analyze your situation, analyze your condition, to sit and work, to come up with or to create viable solutions to survive and thrive in your environment. And I don't think that analyzing your condition, analyzing your environment has any, and then being truthful about it has anything to do with an inferiority complex or self-defeat. I think it's just being real at, where you are. I think sometimes, Baba and Brother Ankh, some people are just damn delusional, if you ask me. People are very delusional. I know that, Ankh, when we were on the phone, you made the statement, Dr. Mott, are you saying there is different from the average black person and the average white person? Are you saying it's a difference? Do you really think it's a difference between an average white person and the average black person? And my response to you, brother Ankh, was yes. I said yes. I said, look at the median income of the average white family or the in the average black family. Just look at the median income. You know, I think the median income of black families is what, $50,000. Median income of white families is $125,000. Yes, it is a difference between the average white person and the average black person. And so I don't think that saying that.
I argued that.
Oh no, you didn't argue it. You didn't argue it. But you asked me. You asked me.
Yeah, but and then I recall the statistics, of course.
Yes. Okay.
Why is that though?
Yeah.
The question would be is what? Why is that?
Well, I would say slavery, and I would say systemic racism. Absolutely. Yep.
So let me say this.
Yes, absolutely.
I got a great example right here.
Absolutely.
Jewish community. They take pride in their history. They're not going to allow United States and nobody else to pick and choose over their history and tell them what they can teach, what they can't teach. They don't worry about you teaching Jewish history in school, about the Holocaust, about none of that. They don't need you to do that because they have taken on the responsibility, which they should, right, to teach their own history and their own story. A lot of times we worried about people you can't teach the history in our school. Wait a minute, bro. Like, we are responsible for teaching correct history. And oh, by the way, don't you mess up that Jewish history.
That's
they're
right.
Gonna come for you. Don't you act like you're a black Hebrew and play this game. I dare you. We're gonna take millions of dollars from you. On the other hand, our community, we teach pseudo history as if it's it. When we got black scholars, black scientists in all fields, right, that can construct our history properly, we refuse to do it, and then we cry about it. Not everybody. We cry about how somebody else don't teach the history to us. We don't need nobody to teach our story, bro. We are proficient and educated enough to give people accurate African and African American history, and we smart enough to look at the goddamn map of Africa and know it ain't one damn country. We smart enough to know that. We smart enough to know that there's different separate ethnic groups in Africa with different shared histories. We smart enough, but we let the buffoons amongst us act like Africa is just one place. It's actually not, right? And whether you are lighter skinned African and may look like you European, you still African. Whether you jet black and you so black I can't see you at night, you still African. Whether you got a different type of social or spiritual system that venerate the ancestors, you still African. We make all Africans the damn same, which is high level buffoonery to me. That's called disrespect. Why do we do that to our story? All that's in the game, Doc. I'm saying we got to stand up for our own self, man. The way we stand up for ourselves, yo, is get the pseudos away from us, educate ourselves like we supposed to, put ourselves in a position where we don't need everybody all the time. That's my point. We should at least do the things we can do. You got Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, right? My two heroes. I make no distinction between the two, right? I'm saying they lost their lives for this thing. The fact that we can be right here and have a voice, the fact that y'all can have schools, summer camps, work with the babies on a regular basis, pick and choose who you want to teach, Doc. The fact that we have those abilities and have those controls, everybody got to take advantage of that. You got to take care of yourself first before somebody else can respect you, regardless of what's going on, regardless of whether it's two Americas, regardless. Imagine if Martin Luther King and Malcolm X was worried about how many Americans. What they did was, whatever America it is, y'all got some rules and regulations that y'all put out, and y'all wrote that down. We're going to make y'all follow that. So you can be in the other America that say you can have two bathrooms. My favorite person is A.J. Gaskin. Oh, we don't know about A.J. Gaskin? A.J. Gaskin, while Martin Luther King and them was marching, which A.J. Gaskin didn't like the fact that the kids was on the front line. He's the one that used to pay the bills in Alabama, right? When the civil rights movement got locked up. He said, you know what? He said, I don't argue with white people. They was like, what? He said, no. He said, they only respect you when you sit down at the table. When they say, what you mean? He said, well, there was a white and black bathroom in the bank where I had my money at. He said, I'm marching there and say, yo, you got till the end of the day to change that situation. And what y'all think happened at that white bank? When AJ Gaston came back in that bank, there was no more white-black bathroom. But why could that be? This man sat down with the Kennedys and had lunch with them. He was a millionaire because he understood. He was in control of his own damn thing. He the one that supplied the funding for the civil rights movement, right? And he did it with a business acumen up here. He ain't had no guns, none of that. He did it with his intelligence. He did it with his black African power, yo, and he did it with power and force. And ain't nobody take that from him. So what we talking about? If he can do it,
to write him right out
but I think you just kind of taking things out of context. And I agree with Stanley E. I've been saying this to him a bunch of times, Stanley. You can be honest about what it is and not be worried about it. That's what I'm saying, Ankh. You know, we're not saying that we're just so worried about, you know, America and what white folks are doing. That's not what this is. You know, you keep saying I'm not worried about it. We're not saying
I'm talking about AJ Gaskin.
No. I'm not talking about that. But you keep saying that I'm not worried about the 2-3 Americas. I'm not worried about another America. What I'm saying is that you can assess America's character and what's happening and not be fixated on it or feel, you know, or have feelings of inferiority or feel self-defeat and keep on pushing. No one's saying that we're worried. I just want to get that clear that, you know, we're not worried about it. We're assessing America for what it is. That's what I'm saying.
So what is it then?
I just want to
what
get
is it? Somebody help me say what it, so and you're understanding, since every time I say you don't gotta worry about it, I'm talking about me, right? And maybe you can do that. I'm saying I can't do that. I can't.
So you're saying you can't assess America personally? You can make an
I'm saying I don't got time to do all that. I assess the playing
you don't have
field.
a time. You don't have a time. You just said it. You just
no. I'm saying I seen people do stuff in environments that they shouldn't be able to do, like AJ Gaskin. He shouldn't be able to do that in that time period. You get what I'm saying? Like, what made him special?
I get.
What made Nzinga special? She shouldn't be able to deal with them Europeans like that in Africa during that time in the 1600s. The way she did that. What did she have? That's what I focus on. This woman couldn't have been thinking about what we be thinking about. She had an eye right there saying, "I'm their goddamn match." No matter what they do,
she was thinking about it. Oh, she was thinking about it. She was thinking about it. She definitely assessed.
I think we saying two separate things.
No.
I think we saying two separate things.
She assessed what was happening.
I think we saying two separate things, though, Doc.
I
think we saying two separate things.
She was assessing what was happening with her people, absolutely. Because you got to make assessment with things before you run out of here and create solutions. You can't go out here and create solutions about something that you haven't assessed. I don't even want to talk to anybody to come talk. I don't even want to have a conversation with anybody about solutions if you have not taken time to critically assess the situation. I don't even want to have a conversation because now what you're talking to me is BS. If you want to come to me and say, Dr. Ma, I got these solutions and I'm trying this, and you haven't taken time to critically assess.
Yeah, we talking about two separate things. We talking about two separate things.
I don't know, because if you get into a room and you negotiating with an old rich white guy, you're not going to talk to, you may not talk to him the same way that you would talk to an old black guy. You know what I'm saying? You may have some things that you're going to appeal to culturally when you deal with the black guy that you're not going to run over with the white guy. Queen Nzinga, what she had in common with AJ Gaston was that she knew how to finesse her enemy. She went and finessed the Dutch and got and weaponized the Dutch against the Portuguese because she had to analyze the situation. Once she analyzed it, she used it to her advantage because she couldn't physically defeat neither one of them.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I ain't talking about that. Yeah, y'all talking about two separate things. Y'all didn't turn to that. No, I'm not saying run out there like a wild cowboy.
What I'm talking about is the advantage of understanding the situation. The advantage of understanding when things ain't level. That don't make you less than. When you study the levels, you can learn how to play the levels. You can learn how to play.
Yeah, it ain't in the talk though. But it ain't in the talk though.
The bathroom.
It ain't in
to appeal to their pocket.
It ain't in the talk though.
Yeah,
some things ain't in the talk.
And AJ Gaston was also tricked into thinking inclusion was part of the answer, because when we started putting our money in them banks, following his example, that wasn't to our advantage either.
Hold on, what? So yeah, we talking about two separate. You can't put no dirt on AJ Gaskin
I ain't
name.
putting no dirt on him. I'm talking strategy. I love
You gotta
AJ
think about
Gaskin.
it though.
I'm just talking
You
about
don't even get
strategy.
out of jail without AJ
I'm just talking about
Gaskin, yo.
strategy. I'm just talking about the difference between making sure they clean the McDonald's and not using McDonald's at all.
There's a point I wanted to make though. I ain't saying don't assess what's going on in America. I'm not saying when you look at that team, when you going up against Tom Brady, yo, you ain't sitting there saying, yo, he don't know what the hell he doing. That means you have not assessed Tom Brady. That's not what I'm saying. Y'all thinking I'm saying that I have not looked at the history of America. It's a glaring thing there.
It
It's
is
called
glaring.
slavery.
That's why I was shocked at your response.
It's a glaring thing, but
completely
now we
shocked.
have to deal with. I'm saying that, and we gotta realize. Okay, so to what degree? I know y'all not sitting here telling me that the situations and circumstances that Malcolm X and Martin Luther King was faced with, that those same situations and circumstances still exist, and that same force that it did. If you was to say that,
not the same force, that's crazy.
So we can agree.
Form or force? What did you just say?
The same form and force, like that is there. Like nothing has changed at all. Y'all not saying that. Of course you wouldn't, right?
Things have changed, but there's still still racism here, still discrimination here, still inequality.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still inequality. We're still dealing with inequality. We're still dealing with poverty. I mean, we're still dealing with poverty, right? I mean, it was a stat that came out: 48% of single Black mothers live at or below, I think, the poverty line. Like, I think it was 48%. I mean, so still impoverished. Still, there's inequality there. Still, racial tension. Still, discrimination.
We're dealing
with mass incarceration. Still dealing with mass incarceration. Still dealing with what else? Police killings. You know, you're still dealing with that stuff. I mean,
yeah, that's not going nowhere. It's called America.
So
you live by the gun.
I'm just saying. So
criminal enterprise.
So were you trying to say we're no longer contending with some of those same things that were happening in the 60s?
No, you would only have to read the writings of the United States government that clearly say that racism is systemic. So that's not even up for the talk.
Okay.
Like
okay.
that's the language that's in the thing. But my point is, if we go too hard in other directions, then we saying that Malcolm and Martin Luther King that they didn't do what I understood they did do, right? And I'm saying is we're in it's a long process.
Definitely a process.
We 100-something years out of slavery, 200 years out of slavery, right? And so it's not going to happen overnight. This is not a generation that gets put in the oven. Okay, that's the Jewish community. They got put in the oven. Generation, right? We're talking about generations upon generations that was fed white Jesus, that was fed Christianity, that was fed Islam, that was fed racism, white supremacy, that was fed the color of your skin is evil, dark, filthy, dirty, negative, not of God, right? And so this is a process here. I thought everybody was understanding it's a process. It's not an overnight thing. You know what I'm saying? It's a process, right? And we got to keep pushing forward in the process. You don't just win the Super Bowl, right? You gotta get in training camp. You gotta get your trading together, right? You gotta get right athletes on your team, right? You gotta stop letting the police of the world run through your community with the wild thing. You gotta stop letting Umar run crazy and all of them. See, that's part of it. You gotta get them little teeny small things in check as you move forward. Imagine if Martin Luther King was a pseudo. Imagine if Malcolm and them was pseudos. They'd have had us on a wild track looking crazy. Hey, Doc, I sent you a video. It had 4.2 million views. Blue Pill, 4.2 million views, right? With 5 or 13 or 12 keys, whatever he is, right? And they was talking about chakras and crystals. Okay? This video right here might get 1,500, 2,000, right? But you say 4.2 million views. Yeah, if we don't stand up against that like we supposed to, we let that slide. Oh, go ahead, let that slide. Really? 4.2 million views? What do we really care about? Are we fighting this fight by ourselves?
No.
And then make the excuse when somebody get locked up. See, now you want to talk about when somebody get locked up. Not talking about y'all. They be the main ones with some kind of mystical event around it. Well, you know, Mars was in retrograde. That's why he stabbed. Craziness, man. Right? I'm saying, we got to take care of our house. Take our house, right? I think it's a strong foundation right here on this panel. I see the work is real. It's tangible. And if I'm looking at the work and I'm saying, man, that's solid. That ain't pseudo. Because you know me, Doc, you say, I just see fault in everything. No, I just understand what the standard is. And I see other affluent communities, they take care of their business. They don't let you play the fake Jewish game. They on your head. Europeans don't let you play the fake scientist game.
You still do try to find fault in everything. I'm sorry. I'm still going.
That's not true.
Okay, well, we could like I said, we could debate it. We could debate it.
Yeah, we can. No, I just don't agree with. I just don't understand the. I always say, like it's got to be y'all two, the last of the Mohicans. Y'all the last pan out. What you want me to do? Y'all the last two standing. You and Dr. Saw. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm not.
Yes, y'all is. But
shout out
my fault. Tanimbe on my team. Y'all the last four. And Dr. Kate. I'm looking at y'all like this.
I keep telling him he just not connected, Baba. There's so many Pan-Africanists out there. There's so much going on.
And we got to be careful looking at YouTube stats because we all know that this ain't organic. Like it's not a reflection of what people are really into. You know what I'm saying? So
this stuff is manufactured.
We can't really go off of that. As someone who works in the streets and in the community, you know what I'm saying? That I can vouch that there are many of us out here working and building, but a lot of times the people who are putting in work, they don't got time to go viral. I only got time to
right.
I don't know how Dr. Mayat does what she does. I'm like, do you sleep?
No, she don't sleep.
Look,
right.
And look, Bob, and like you said, the ones that's doing the work, that ain't even our intent to go viral. I don't care.
That's not
with
even
19,
intent,
that's
right?
not even an aspiration.
All those cats want speaking engagements. They want to sell you an ebook, online workshop, and a speaking engagement. They don't give a damn.
Seminar, like you said, seminar, Baba.
They ain't worried about none of that. They ain't gonna build no physical temple that you can go to every week because then they got to sit down and actually work with people. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad they on here and not in the community.
That
really messing us up. We need more of us who have tangible ideas to put those ideas in the community. That's why I don't debate much. And I love the debates because it causes people to think. But the only reason why I don't participate is my attitude is I have to build something solid around what I believe before I can say anything. I will not argue a concept. I will only argue application.
I hear you. And I think we can all agree that I appreciate the Black community actually standing up and, putting their money where their mouth is, though.
Come on.
On that brother defense fund right there, yo. Yeah. I think that's telling right there. I think Trump, sometimes the barrier becomes the way. Y'all know that, right? That which stands in the way becomes the way. Okay. All right. And Trump has proven you had a lot of Black people that voted for Trump. You had a lot of Black power people that voted for Trump, right? They spoke against Kamala. They spoke against her, right? I know she wouldn't have did it this way. Whatever it was, we thought she wasn't or wasn't Black or wasn't green and purple, she wouldn't have did it like this. She wouldn't have had us running around like this, off kilter. So I'm glad that African Americans have decided to stand up and put their money where their mouth is, because we got it to do, right? And I appreciate that focus right there. And I think that's important. That's important right there to see that they stepped up to help that man legal fund. I think that's very, very important.
And that's why at times like this, I'm all right with it, because they sometimes they have to remind us who we are.
That's a shame.
Sometimes they have to remind us of that. Man, I remember when Trump came in the first time, business was booming. People was talking about, we're going to cash mob the nearest Black business. Let's go. People on the news growing afros. I look up and Joy Reid got dookie braids. I'm like, God, what's going on? Even Don Lemon grew an afro. Joe Biden got in and shoot, Joy got up and put her wig back on. Lemon got a haircut. But nobody cash mobbing no more. We won again. And so here we are suffering. And just walking around talking that inclusion, making sure LGBTQs got all their rights. And that's all we talking about. Then Trump get back in office, we black again.
You,
Oh,
you know what's
I've been
deep?
getting all kind of calls. All right. What I'm
You know
how am
what's
I
deep?
supposed
Black
to be?
again.
You know what's deep? It was a book, and I forget the title of it. And you talked about the I don't know how to say it. The LB, how you say it? You said it. You said it good. How you say
I
it
get
again?
LBGTQ.
Yeah, they changed the letters too much for me. It changed up too much for me.
Yeah.
I'm saying that you got to look the way they rebrand their movement. They actually rebrand what they was doing. All right. And that's how they got acceptance. We need to take a look at how they ran a thing, how they run a thing, right? We need to rebrand some things. A lot of times we stuck in the 50s. It ain't the 50s no more. Okay. And a lot of time our talking points and our fighting mantras fit in the 50s. We're in 2025.
But you wouldn't
Okay.
talk political science in your public school.
But
You
we
wouldn't
need to
talk
have
critical thinking in your public school. You
we
pick
don't
this
have
up
to.
later.
We don't have to. We can do it.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, just understanding what we're dealing with right now. You know,
We can do it.
and so you're talking about a re-education, you're talking about
Right.
a reprogramming, you know, and that takes effort, that takes support, that takes UACI camps and the Uhuru academies, you know what I'm
There you
saying?
go.
That takes
Conscious
that,
ingenuity,
right, conscious
pseudo
ingenuity.
killers,
Yeah,
hold
you
on,
know what I'm
community
saying? Pseudo
skeptics.
killers. It takes that to make
that.
those things happen. Because like you
There
said
you go.
earlier, it's a process, not an event. And we stand on the shoulders of your Dr. Amos Wilsons and your Dr.
Right.
Francis Cress-Welsings and others, you know what I'm saying, who are out here thinking critically and asking those great questions. We teach our students all the time. It is not about having answers. It's about having the right questions. Right. And so we have to constantly ask the right questions. So when we ask, are there two Americas? That's a good question.
That's a good question. And go ahead, Baba, because I want to you got me pumped up now. Go ahead, Baba. Go ahead. Because he tried to, because Baba just, you know, because Unc was like, I'm not worried about it. And I'm like, wait a minute. Let's talk about that.
You're gonna hop.
I am. Because I asked, he's right. It was a good question in which you did. I'm not worried about it. I ain't worried.
I mean, I don't know. I said I was honest. I'm honest.
I said you better assess where you are.
Right.
You know,
yeah, that's different.
It's about assessment, but you took it to what we worried about and what we, and I'm like, no, this is about a critical assessment of America. And like I said, Barack literally last week, video went viral. He talked about that. He said, now I'm questioning really and I hope I'm not butchering it, the ethos or ethos of America, the character of America. That's what he's saying. I'm actually at a point where I'm assessing it. And so that's why I threw the question out at you. I said, well, do you think it's other American? I went back to Dr. King's assessment back in 67. And so, but you took it, I ain't worried about it. I ain't worried. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. We're not talking about whether you worried about it.
You want to know if it's two Americas. Okay, let me answer the question. No, I don't think it's two Americas. I think it's the goddamn America we stand in and how we gonna make it. That's what I think. I think where we stand is America. Now, we either gonna live for it or die for it. We either gonna make the way for our families or not. Simple as that, bro. If you're gonna pay the rent, get the business, fill up the GoFundMe for 500,000 or you not. I don't give a damn for 20 Americans. It don't matter. What you gonna go? You gonna come take the money out to GoFundMe? If you do, we just all die, Doc. So it don't matter to me whether it's 3 Americas, 4 Americas, we got a job to get done. It don't matter how good that team is. Yeah, the Chiefs, they 15-0. They got their ass whipped in the Super Bowl. Yeah, Philly ain't going there thinking, hey, yo, that's a dominant team. Boy, it's two NFLs up in there. They always give it. Yeah, man, you had teams crying because Mahomes always get the calls.
Not that they were dominant, but they assess their competition.
Okay,
that's the point.
All right, but I'm saying,
always gotta hold on.
Yeah, but you gotta do that.
Always gotta assess your competition.
You gotta assess that. I'm saying I'm a head banger. I'm banging heads. I'm the offensive lineman. I'm the defensive lineman. You the quarterback. You go assess that quarterback. You the quarterback. You the quarterback. You got the doctor's degree. Right. I'm saying I'm gonna protect you. I'm gonna protect you. What's the call? What's the call?
Even in your own analogy, every team is like its own ethnic group or ethno state, and they belong to a league where the owners meet and argue, negotiate, backbite, betray, do whatever they got to do to get a competitive advantage every year.
Yes.
But the key is at the end of the day, knowing they're competing, but at the same time, they all eating off this one lead. Kind of like what Booker T. Washington said, separate fingers on the same hand, right? And everybody's not having the same experience. And I don't think we're asking the question to suggest that everyone should.
No.
That's another question. That's another good question. Should
Yes.
everybody experience the same America? Right?
Right.
But
Do
we
you really
do have to
really-
recognize, right? That's a great question. Are there two Americas? Is there still a unique Black American experience versus a unique white American experience?
Yes.
That's a question.
Ain't it both though? Ain't it both?
The same? Do we
Ain't
all
it
have
both?
the same opportunity?
Ain't it both?
I don't understand what you just said. You said
I'm saying, don't we? Okay, so we build our communities to fit, our environment, to fit our social needs and what we need. We're not building a community to worry about Europeans or even care about what they're doing. Because you got to care about when I raise my kids, I'm not worrying about how you raising your kids. I'm focused on me, my family. And if I can focus on me and my family, then get that straight, get myself straight, get my family straight, then I can get my community straight, right? And if I get my community straight, right, then I can get my nation straight. If I get my nation straight, right, then I can get the world straight. So my point is, I hear what y'all saying. I'm saying at this point in the game, right, we know we're in the damn game. Else we wouldn't be fighting so damn hard. We wouldn't be loving so daggone hard. We wouldn't be caring. If there would not be no pseudo killers, there wouldn't be a conscious engineer. There would not be no Hero Academy because we in the game, right? But we fighting. So I know you don't think I'm sitting here thinking. Obviously, there's something going on. Is why I'm doing what I'm doing. I ain't doing it because I just like to do it. I ain't spending time away from the family because I like to do it. You people, that support us, man, they ain't just looking at us because they like to look at us, right? They know we're gonna have the issue, right? We might come at it from different angles, but we're gonna be honest in assessing what we're talking about. So damn right we're in the game, and damn right there's something going on. That's why we're here, right? But I'm saying sometimes it ain't even in the talk. If it's three Americas, then the America we in got to be the best America. How about that?
I think every day
I'm with that. I can take
How
that.
about that?
I can take that. But
Yeah,
you
because
said
we
I'm
got
not
kids that depend on us, right?
Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying. No, I hear what you're saying. But when you did say, I'm not worried about how you raise your kid. I'm only worried about how I raise my kid. I sat and thought about this sister by the name of okay, you said first. Okay, because I was getting ready to say, hold on.
Yeah, it's got to be first. Like, hey, Doc, I can't save Africa if I'm walking out on crack valves outside my house, yo.
No, that's real.
Then I'm tripping.
Okay,
yeah, see,
I'm with you.
See, that's
when you said
did.
first, you said first, I'm like, okay, but if you just said period, like I ain't worried about that, then I'm like, because kids I can't get behind that.
Because kids, first of all, it's me. If I ain't straight, then ain't nobody straight. If my mental health ain't there, right? If my finances ain't there, if my support structure ain't there, then my kids and my family become trash. They become very, very vulnerable. We're already vulnerable because we was in an environment of racism, white supremacy, and the residue is all over the place. It's all over our clothes right now. We see it. There's no ducking it, right? But then if I'm straight, get my kids straight, right? And my family straight, that's my cousins, my aunts and them, they seeing it. And then it's my community. But within the community, it's kids and children. Man, I seen your kids grow, Doc. You seen my kids grow, right? You didn't start off saving community. You start off raising your kids, right?
Oh, yeah. We good. I just thought when you said first, I'm like, okay. I'm glad you added that one word first.
No, you transfer those ideas to the other children. Same with you, Baba. Come on, Baba.
No, we on the same way with that.
The same way you raise your kids.
With that. Yeah, we on the same
way. You raise them kids and you who rule. I see, I've been there. I see y'all. I seen that little teeny building and that little storefront thing there. I see you. And you still doing it. And I see who you hooked up with. So now y'all have moved out of the space of got yourself right. Got you. Now you in the community. Y'all did it right. Where other people, right? Well, look at themselves and go save Africa, and their family structure is trash.
Facts.
and we
walking on
still have
crack
those
barrels.
challenges. Yeah, and because family is a process. You know, you know that you got a family. 2023 don't look like 2015. You know, 2025 don't look like 2022. I'm Cliff Huxtable some years, and Fred Sanford singing something for other years. You know what I'm saying? So that's me though. You know, I try to be consistent. You know, it's a process. You know, it's a process, not an event. You know, and you know, again, when we say get our community together, then you got to start analyzing what is our community, because
Right.
last 60 years, the goal has been to get out of the community
Yeah.
physically and just
Yeah.
be proud of being Black externally,
Right.
right? Does that work? It has that. Now we need to look at that and say, how has that strategy served us as a community? I'm not answering it. I'm just putting it out there. Like when I see the people in the chat, we FB, they got an FBA argument going on in the chat. All
Right
I
now?
want to know is,
Hold
do
on.
y'all want to live together?
Right now, there's a it's
It's
going
an
on.
I'm not
FBA
doing
argument going on. My thing, man, it's cool.
Oh Lord.
I'll call
Don't get me
myself
started.
anything that has an initiative to make us a real community again. Not just people that hang out together and argue together on Twitter. I don't want to come to another rally, reparations rally. I ain't rallying. I
Oh
ain't
my
coming to
God.
the conference. But if you say, yeah, we chose Stop 6 in Fort Worth, we're going to go, and the FBA lawyers and the FBA dentists, they're going to buy houses and build houses in the middle of this Black community, and we're going to build a community, a physical one. I might get my calling card. Other than that, I'm just going to go to the rally of my favorite speaker. Why would I go anywhere else?
Baba, why you say I might just get my calling
I
card?
might
Let me
just go
try.
get my FBA card. But until then, they got to argue. I want to see these kind of arguments. We just cut the ribbon on 100 acres in South Carolina. Of course, we are the original Hebrews. Man, we just bought a plane and founded 18 farms. We are Moors. Whoever got them, I'm okay. I might be a Moor then. Like, but I'm not arguing at the gym. I ain't doing that. Yeah, I ain't arguing on social media. My thing is, everybody go out there and put your money and your actions where your mouth is.
No, see, y'all can talk that talk. And hold on, let me say this. See, you talking that talk right now. And the reason you can talk that talk, because Dr. I can talk that talk. And guess what? I can talk that talk because I'm in the room with y'all. And I know the help I get from y'all. I know what Doc do. I know how she positioned her pieces, right? I know how you position your academy to help the community. Yo, Doc don't never walk by them. You walk and you grab people up. Now, a lot of people, you know, you can help them, but they don't want no help. Right. And they talk a lot of trash about you, Doc. Right.
Oh,
they
yeah,
just talk
I could care
crazy
less.
from day one.
I could
Why
care
are you
less.
messing with? Hold on. This the things with why are you messing with? They always say that. They always try to put that wedge. Why are you messing with Baba? Why are you messing with him? That. Cause man, hey, she put out the back call. Yo, ain't nobody come. That's why. We here for her. We got you thick and thin, up and down, in and out. Don't matter. Right? We there. We there for the long haul to support each other in what we doing. Simple as that. We're gonna make this work. Ain't no other way. See, that's what I'm saying. I don't see no way back. I crossed the bridge and blew it up. Not going back. I'm not going back to America where we looking at two separate bathrooms. I'm not going back to America.
You ain't gotta go. You ain't gotta go back. It's already here. It's already.
Nah, I'm not listening to that.
It's already here.
You know what? I don't believe it.
Okay, wait till you see.
Hey, but Doc, you know what's crazy? Look, I can't even say that. Look, I can't even say that with confidence because John F. Kennedy is here out there gonna help.
Robert F. Kennedy, but go ahead.
I call him John anything. Just say anything. Don't even say the name right. That's how crazy it is.
My mama told me they didn't have a problem with separate bathrooms. They had a problem that they didn't get to pick which one was theirs. That was their only problem. They didn't want all that hair in the sink and all that they had to deal with. That their problem that they got the dirty bathroom. That was their problem. That's they ain't had no issue with them being separate. We just didn't get to pick one. We didn't get to pick the good bathroom. That's the issue.
It's here. You better look at Trump's latest policies. You better look at Trump's latest policies.
You think he gonna get all that off?
Oh, it ain't. Well, you better look at those new policies.
Let's talk about them.
Separate facilities. I think is now legalized. I got to go back and look. but you all can let me in the chat. I believe that he passed something that stated that facilities, having segregated or
It was
separate.
something very specific.
Yes,
Like
having,
look that up.
we could definitely look it up. We could
Yeah,
definitely.
I
look
wouldn't
it
be
up.
surprised. I can't, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. threw me all the way out the door when you was preparing them slides for us to go into combat against the largest anti-vax community, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Del Bigtree. You couldn't have told me. I'd have cussed you out if you told me that Robert F. Kennedy was going to be head of the CDC and our health. I'd be like, get out of here. The whole time, Doc, I'm delusional. I told you I'd be delusional. Right, that's why I need you to catch me sometime because I stay in delusion. I'm like, nah, they never gonna confirm this man, the anti-vax to be head of the whole thing. Our health, no way, man. I say even if he trying to get him in there, the system gonna get it straight. So I ain't gonna let y'all scare me today. Because if I really think about it, you get my point. If I really start to think about it. If I really start to think about it, I crash out.
Who trying to scare you though?
Man, if I really, I'm saying sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you be like, man, it's actually over. I might as well just get what I can get before I go. That's how I be sometimes. You could never say in your wildest dreams that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was going to be head of our health and be in charge of vaccines. So if I think about it too hard, I'll be like, oh my. That's why I don't try to think about it. I'm just glad that we educated and we can educate the community, right, of what they need to do. That we do not need the government to educate us on vaccine safety, on whether we should deal with medical advice and this. And we don't need that because we got it. We figured it out. We just got groups that will fight against us. And this is my problem, right? You got the Nation of Islam, right? They're anti-vax and they're not mad of me saying that, right? They don't support that, right? That's they could do that.
They have
right?
a right.
You got a lot of groups. I got videos I could put up when I'm going against quote unquote Pan-Africans sitting in a Pan-African office arguing with me over vaccines. It's all on tape, right? So people look like me and you fighting us over whether we should do the things that's for our community. Because I really have a problem with standing up for Karmelo, right? But then turn around and go against the community. And which one is it? Either you standing for Karmelo, either you stand for the health of our community, because that's the most important thing we have is our health. If you doing that or you not, make your mind up. Sit down and listen to somebody that's educated on subjects.
You have herbalists and holistic people and that have these traditions passed down in their families from generation to generation that vehemently believe that they are standing up for the health in our community when they are anti-vax. That's what they believe based on the science that they study. Because science is not as tunnel vision as people tend to think. There are multiple branches of science. There are multiple perspectives on what science is, right? And so you have that. So you have people that fight vehemently. I don't want us to allow that to take our eye off the ball, though. You can believe in vax, and next person could be and not believe in vax, but still believe in Carmelo's innocence. And
no, you gotta get out the game. You gotta get out the game.
And still not be in, because if I don't believe in your approach, like I don't like Martin and Malcolm had their differences.
Yeah, they did.
Right. Neither I would categorize as an enemy to the community, but at a certain time, both of them might have categorized the other as that.
I agree.
And so two things can be true. If you don't agree with my approach, and I think that's the language that this administration and that the conservatives, what they've been able to do is put us in this either or mind state. So it used to be, I don't agree with their policies, it's bad for America. Now they say they're trying to destroy America. They're the enemy of America. That's how they talk to each other now. And they just be arguing over Medicaid. You a left-wing socialist that want to destroy the country. You a right-wing extremist that wants to destroy. So we're getting into this either or type thing.
No, we're not. I'm actually not. There's no high-level science on herbs work against viruses. That's not such thing. That's my point. We actually arguing over things. So my point is, the fact that you're doing that and the fact that you acting like it's some kind of science is troubling when you claim to be for the community. Because in actuality, when it comes to certain things, like educating in a certain way, when Doc talking, what she talking about, what she's really the expert on, I stay the hell out the way. That's our problem. We don't know when to get the hell out the way. If you're not a daggone vaccine scientist, then shut the hell up. That's my point. Shut the hell up. If you're saying something that's anti that. If you're an herbalist, you're a damn herbalist. And an herbalist don't got nothing to do with high-level medical scientists, right? And all to do with a whole bunch of foolery. And see, I say it, right? It has herbs and all that. And what I'm saying, let me just finish my point. I'm saying is, I'm not willing to act like herbs is going to stop a virus in 2025. That was in the 1900s. That was in 1701 before Africans, you know what I'm saying, Onesimus put the game down for him. That's an African. So I'm saying we should, I'm saying serious communities like China. China is a serious community. Guess what they got? Guess what they got though? They got a whole $1 billion herb industry. Bam, there you go. Y'all can play with that. And then they got $1 trillion medical science. So y'all can play right here, right? Play right there, but we not gonna let you take that and put that over here.
Well, that's my point. That's foundational and preventive stuff over here, and I get that. When it's time to intervene.
No, you ain't preventing nothing.
No, what I'm saying though, you can acknowledge their ignorance, but you can't gauge their seriousness or their belief that they're doing something for the community. I've had to deal with too many people with bad ideas on this journey to throw them in the trash. I had to negotiate and extract what's useful out of that. You understand, and you got to let people have some of that so they can get engaged in something else that we have in common. That's why I started.
So guess what though?
African unity. Everybody come in. We believe in something different. Let's explore the things scientifically that we believe in the same.
Yeah, we not. See, there's a difference here. Okay. So I agree. You cannot assess how much they believe in what they think they're doing. I agree. But this is where the scam occurs. You're scamming us because you act like you know and understand vaccine and high medical science. You acting like that. So I'm getting you for acting like that. We have intelligent African-American vaccine scientists. We have intelligent medical doctors. Pick up the Dr. Cater. It's a medical doctor, right? They can clearly sit down and have an intelligent conversation around that damn situation. You don't got to listen to me. So I'm not never, ever, ever letting you get that off because I can't assess how much you believe. I know you believe it's good for us. What I'm saying is, if you really care about the community, stay in your damn lane. That's what I'm saying. We got to be able to stay in our lane, yo. That's the problem. Everybody want to do every damn thing. Let the football players be football players. Make sure they give out their just due to help the community. Let the basketball players be the basketball players. Let the medical doctors be the medical doctors. Let the vaccine scientists be the vaccine scientists. And that's when we are at our strongest point. But when a regular old communicator, science advocate such as myself, you know what I'm saying, try to act like an expert, that's a problem. That lady right there, Dr. Mayer, has a doctorate in engineering. You have fools on this damn channel talk about, oh, she's just an electrician. And they laughed. They laughed. So I'm saying is some things you cannot let people get away with, because you let them get away with it, yo, then you give them an inch, they take a yard. Wow. Mm-hmm. You can't do it. It's some things that's non-negotiable, man. Our health and our education is non-negotiable, because these are the tools that will help us fight against oppression. If you're in the damn house sick, you ain't fighting nobody. If you're miseducated, you're going to end up doing the same thing to you that the white people did to you. All this shit is, I'm talking about critical moments in history, right? Thurgood Marshall. Man, he defeated them with their law. He was so serious, right, that they raised him to the highest court. Suppose he was a pseudo trying to enact the Moorish law.
I can't do this. I'm done.
Where we be at?
I'm done. Baba, I'm done. I gotta go, man. I appreciate y'all coming in. Ankh just hit it. He was serious too. You see how he ended with the straight face. Now,
exactly.
suppose he was,
That's all he was waiting
trying
for.
to
The
invoke
fire.
Moore's law.
Yeah, y'all should think about that. Come on, man. Stop it, man.
But I seriously got to run though, because I got to submit a paper. I actually have to go over. Kendall sent me over that paper, Baba. I mean, sent me over the chart. So I do have to run, fellas. But Baba, Brother Ankh, thank you so much for the build.
Appreciate you, Baba.
Thank you for the build. Look, I appreciate everyone who pulled up. I see people on the community of skeptics, people on Baba Amin's Uhuru Academy channel on his Facebook page. I see people on IG. I see people on my YouTube. Thank you all for pulling up. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube platforms and follow our social media platforms, our other social media platforms, our Facebook pages, our Instagram pages. All right, follow the community of skeptics. Follow Baba Amin. Follow the Uhuru Academy. Follow Dr. Ma'at. Hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that whenever we go live, you will be notified. Baba, do you have any closing words for the listening audience?
I'll continue to study. Continue to study. Continue to learn. Think before you speak. Think before you act. Love you.
Ashe. Brother Ankh, do you have any closing words for the listening audience?
Peace and blessings.
You know what? I'm done. You can't take Ankh nowhere, man. You can't take him nowhere. Peace and Black African excellence, y'all. Peace.